First contact crisis. In the cold silence of Earth's Sentinel Station Alpha, Lieutenant Maya Chen jolted upright in her monitoring chair. The neural interface she wore pulsed with unexpected activity, flooding her consciousness with strange data patterns. "Director Ramirez," she called out, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "The deep space array is picking up something unusual." Director Elena Ramirez approached swiftly, her cybernetic eye whirring softly as it adjusted focus. For 50 years, humanity had maintained its silent vigil of the stars, secretly expanding its military presence, while officially appearing isolationist to any watching eyes. "Show me," Ramirez ordered. The holographic display materialized between them, showing waveforms that pulsed and twisted in patterns too regular to be natural, but too complex to be simple technology. "It's a signal, Director. Definitely artificial. And it's a distress call." The room fell silent. In the decades since humanity had detected signs of alien civilizations, they had adhered to strict protocols of observation without contact. Earth's leaders had chosen a path of cautious preparation, building a fleet that combined their most advanced technologies into weapons platforms that would give humanity a fighting chance if first contact proved hostile. "Origin?" Ramirez asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Triangulating now. Approximately 42 light-years away. Kepler 186 system." Ramirez's expression hardened. "Dispatch the alert to Fleet Command. Priority Omega." Within 6 hours, the 12 highest-ranking military and political leaders of Earth's United Defense Council gathered in the orbital station's secure conference chamber. The recorded signal played again, now decoded into a visual message that hovered above the table. The alien was humanoid, but clearly not human, its skin a pale blue, with gill-like structures pulsing at its neck. Behind it, fires raged and structures collapsed. "This is Ambassador Telian of Nova Prime, broadcasting on all frequencies. Our civilization faces extinction. The Vrikari Dominion has bypassed our defensive grid. They're systematically destroying our cities, our history, our people. If anyone receives this message, please, help us." Admiral Jackson Way, commander of Earth's First Strike Fleet, leaned forward. "Distance from our forward base. 3 days at maximum hyperspace velocity," replied General Sarah O'Malley, her finger tracing the route on a star chart. President Carolina Vega, serving her second term as Earth's unified leader, studied the faces around her. "The prime directive is clear. We've built our fleet for this moment, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. But we must be certain this isn't a trap." Commander Ilara Reyes, captain of the UES Thunderchild, Earth's most advanced stealth destroyer, stood. At 42, she was younger than most at this table, but her tactical brilliance had earned her both respect and command. "Madam President, I propose a reconnaissance mission. The Thunderchild can reach the Novan system undetected, assess the situation, and report back before committing the fleet." We nodded. "The Thunderchild is our best stealth platform. If there's a genuine genocide in progress, we'll have confirmation within 72 hours. President Vega considered briefly, then nodded. "Make it happen." "Commander Reyes, you have authorization to engage only if absolutely necessary to prevent immediate civilian casualties. Otherwise, observe and report only." Reyes saluted sharply. "Understood, Madam President." 12 hours later, the Thunderchild slipped into hyperspace, its quantum displacement drive leaving barely a ripple in space-time. Reyes stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch into lines before the viewscreen shifted to navigation mode. "Lieutenant Commander Davis, battle readiness status?" she asked her XO. Marcus Davis, a former NASA astronaut who had transitioned to the military when Earth unified its space forces, consulted his neural feed. "All systems at combat readiness. Stealth systems optimal. Weapon platforms charged and secured." Reyes nodded, settling into her command chair. The Thunderchild represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a vessel designed not just for war, but for winning wars against potentially superior enemies. Its hull incorporated metamaterials that absorbed sensor scans. Its engines operated on principles that left minimal energy signatures, and its weapons had been engineered to deliver maximum effect with surgical precision. "Set condition yellow throughout the ship," she ordered. "I want all personnel ready for potential combat operations the moment we exit hyperspace." The journey passed in tense preparation. Crew members ran battle drills, weapons specialists calibrated targeting systems, and the ship's AI conducted thousands of simulations based on the limited data they had on potential alien technology. On the third day, Reyes gathered her senior staff in the tactical room. "We're approaching the Kepler 186 system," she began. "We'll exit hyperspace at maximum distance and proceed under full stealth protocols. Our priority is assessment. Are the Novans genuinely under attack? What is the nature of this Vrakari dominion? And what level of technological sophistication are we dealing with?" Science Officer Dr. Amara Okafor spoke up. "Commander, based on the signal analysis, the Novans appear to be approximately 150 years behind Earth technologically. Their transmission capabilities suggest they've mastered basic interstellar communication, but likely rely on conventional propulsion for space travel." "And the Vrakari?" "Unknown, but the destructive capability described suggests they're significantly more advanced." Reyes nodded grimly. "Then we proceed with maximum caution. If we encounter actual genocide in progress, we are authorized to intervene, but tactical strikes only. We're not starting a war without approval from command." As the Thunderchild dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler 186 system, the sensors immediately detected massive energy discharges consistent with orbital bombardment. "Optical enhancement," Reyes ordered. The main screen shifted, zooming in on the fourth planet, a water world with landmasses roughly similar to Earth's proportions. Around it, 27 massive vessels maintained a blockade formation while smaller craft descended to the surface. "Thermal scan of the surface," Reyes commanded. The image shifted to infrared, revealing widespread fires across the largest continent. Population centers glowed hot, then suddenly cooled in patterns consistent with weapon impacts. "They're systematically destroying cities," whispered Lieutenant Rodriguez, the tactical officer. Reyes's jaw tightened. "Scan the Vrakari vessels. I want to know their weapons capabilities, defensive systems, everything." For 30 minutes, the Thunderchild gathered data while remaining invisible to the alien fleet. What they discovered painted a grim picture. The Vrakari utilized antimatter warheads against civilian targets. Their shields operated on predictable frequency modulations, and their vessels, while imposing, lacked the stealth capabilities Earth had prioritized. "They don't expect resistance," Davis observed. "They're not even maintaining proper combat formations." A transmission from the planet's surface cut through their analysis, broadcast on all frequencies, desperate, and breaking up. "This is Governor Mila of Nova Prime. Southern continent has fallen. Northern defense grid failing. Estimated civilian casualties exceed 30 million. Central archives being targeted. Our history, our knowledge. Please, if anyone is listening." The transmission cut off abruptly as another Vrakari bombardment began. Reyes stood, her decision made. "This is genocide, plain and simple. Prepare for combat operations. Lieutenant Rodriguez, calculate firing solutions on the 3 Vrakari vessels currently bombarding the northern continent. Phase shift torpedoes, maximum yield." "Commander," Davis cautioned, "Fleet Command authorized observation and minimal intervention only." Reyes met his gaze steadily. "I'm exercising the genocide prevention clause of our orders. We're not starting a war, Lieutenant Commander. We're preventing mass murder." She turned to her communications officer. "Establish a channel to Fleet Command, Priority Alpha." Inform Admiral Wei, we have confirmed genocide in progress and are executing limited defensive operations under Protocol 7. The bridge crew moved with precision, born of years of training for a moment they had hoped would never come. First contact with a hostile alien species. Phase shift torpedoes armed and locked, Rodriguez reported. Deploy countermeasure suite, Reyes ordered. I want our full electronic warfare package ready the moment we decloak. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Humanity's first military action against an alien species would happen under her command. Disengage stealth systems, weapons free. The Thunderchild shimmered into visibility, its sophisticated electronic countermeasures simultaneously flooding Valkyrie sensors with false readings that made the single Earth vessel appear as multiple threats approaching from different vectors. Before the aliens could respond, 3 phase shift torpedoes, weapons designed to temporarily phase through conventional shields before rematerializing, struck their targets with devastating precision. The antimatter warheads detonated, creating contained quantum implosions that collapsed the Valkyrie vessels from within, leaving nothing but expanding clouds of debris. Direct hits, Rodriguez reported, a note of awe in his voice. All 3 targets neutralized. The remaining Valkyrie ships reacted with confusion, their formations breaking as they attempted to locate the source of the attack. Earth's stealth technology had given them an advantage they had hoped for, but couldn't count on. Open a channel to the Valkyrie fleet, Reyes commanded. When the connection was established, she stood tall, her voice clear and unwavering. This is Commander Ilara Reyes of the Earth vessel Thunderchild. Your genocide of the Novan people ends now. Withdraw from this system immediately or face destruction. The response came quickly, a harsh, guttural language that the ship's AI struggled to translate. The screen filled with the image of a reptilian being, its scales a deep crimson, eyes vertical slits of yellow malice. Unknown vessel. The translation came through. You interfere in Dominion business. The Novans are our rightful conquest. Withdraw or be destroyed. Reyes's expression hardened. We've demonstrated our capabilities. The next demonstration will target your command vessel. You have 5 minutes to begin withdrawal. She cut the transmission and turned to her tactical officer. Target their flagship. Prepare the quantum resonance cannon. The QR cannon was humanity's most closely guarded weapon. Developed from principles discovered in Yorn's quantum experiments, it created a cascading failure in atomic bonds, essentially causing matter to dissolve at a molecular level. They're charging weapons, Davis warned. Multiple targeting locks attempting to fix on our position. Evasive pattern Delta, Reyes ordered. Deploy chaff and phantom drones. The Thunderchild executed a series of impossible maneuvers, its inertial dampeners allowing it to change direction at speeds that would have pulverized an organic crew without such protection. Simultaneously, dozens of small drones ejected from the ship, each projecting sensor signatures identical to the Thunderchild itself. The Valkyrie weapons fired, beams of concentrated plasma that cut through space, but hit nothing but empty vacuum, and decoy drones. QR cannon at full charge, Rodriguez reported. Target their propulsion systems only, Reyes ordered. We want to disable, not destroy if possible. The Thunderchild's main weapon discharged, not a visible beam, but a distortion in space that connected the Earth ship to the Valkyrie flagship in an instant. Where it touched the alien vessel's engines, the matter simply ceased to exist, leaving a perfectly carved section missing from the massive warship. The effect was immediate. The Valkyrie flagship listed in space, secondary explosions rippling along its hull as power systems failed. Open the channel again, Reyes commanded. This time, the Valkyrie commander's demeanor had changed, fear evident in its alien features. What are you? It demanded. We are humanity, Reyes answered simply. And we have chosen to protect the Novans. Your time here is over. Begin withdrawal now, or we will be forced to eliminate your entire fleet. For a tense moment, it seemed the Valkyrie might choose destruction. Then, slowly, their vessels began to alter course, moving away from the planet. "They're retreating," Davis confirmed, disbelief in his voice. Reyes nodded, allowing herself a small smile. "Maintain combat readiness. Lieutenant Chen, establish communication with the Novan government. Let them know they're under Earth's protection now." As the Valkyrie fleet limped away, Reyes stared at the view screen, watching the planet below. Humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible, by standing against tyranny and genocide. "Commander," Chen called out, "I have established contact with Governor Mila. They're calling us their saviors." Reyes shook her head slowly. "No, tell them we're simply their neighbors, and in our neighborhood, we don't tolerate bullies." She turned to her communications officer. "Send a full report to Fleet Command. The Valkyrie will return, and when they do, we need to be ready with more than one ship." As the Thunderchild maintained its protective orbit around Nova Prime, humanity's first chapter in galactic politics had been written. Not in diplomatic niceties, but in a language all bullies ultimately understand. Force met with greater force, and the uncompromising defense of the innocent. The protectors of the stars. 72 hours after the Thunderchild's intervention, the skies above Nova Prime had transformed. Where once Valkyrie warships had loomed like harbingers of extinction, now 7 Earth vessels maintained a defensive formation. The first response elements of Admiral Wei's fleet arrived ahead of schedule after receiving Commander Reyes' report. On the planet's surface, Commander Reyes stood beside Governor Mila in what remained of the Novan capital's central plaza. Around them, Earth medical teams worked alongside Novan healers, treating the wounded as engineering crews assessed structural damage to critical infrastructure. "Your people came just in time," Mila said, her translucent blue skin reflecting the alien sunlight in iridescent patterns. "Another day, and there would have been nothing left to save." Reyes nodded solemnly. "We received your distress call and couldn't stand by while innocent lives were extinguished." A group of Novan children approached cautiously, their eyes wide with curiosity. Unlike the adults, they had 6 fingers on each hand, an evolutionary adaptation that Earth xenobiologists were still discussing with fascination. "Are you really from the hidden world?" one child asked, using the term that had quickly spread among the Novans to describe Earth, the planet that had developed in secret while the rest of the galaxy conducted its affairs. Reyes smiled, kneeling to meet the child's gaze. "We are. We've been watching the stars for a long time, learning and preparing." "Preparing for what?" the child asked. "For this moment," Reyes answered simply, "for when we might be needed." Governor Mila gestured toward the horizon, where the twisted wreckage of a Valkyrie strike craft still smoldered. "The Dominion will not accept this defeat. They will return with a larger force. They've conquered 17 systems before reaching ours. They do not tolerate resistance." Reyes's neural implant pulsed, signaling an incoming priority communication from orbit. "Excuse me," she said, stepping away. The holographic image of Admiral Wei materialized before her. "Commander, long-range sensors have detected hyperspace disturbances consistent with a large fleet approaching. Estimated arrival: 6 hours. The Valkyrie. Almost certainly. We're detecting at least 70 vessels, 3 times what they deployed in the initial attack." Reyes considered this information. Earth had committed 12 ships to Nova Prime's defense, their most advanced vessels, but still drastically outnumbered. "What about the rest of the fleet?" she asked. "The main battle group is still 18 hours out," Wei replied grimly. "We'll have to hold with what we have." Reyes nodded. "Then we'll make it count. Request permission to implement stratagem Chimera." Wei's eyebrows rose slightly. Chimera was a theoretical battle plan developed for situations where Earth forces faced overwhelming numerical superiority. It had never been tested outside simulations. "Granted," he said after a moment. "I'll coordinate from the Excalibur. You'll lead the surface operation." As the Admiral's image faded, Reyes returned to Governor Mila. "The Valkyrie are returning with reinforcements. We need to evacuate your government and as many civilians as possible to the underground shelters. Mila's guild structures fluttered in distress. They're coming back so soon. Our shelters cannot withstand sustained bombardment. They won't have to, Rise assured her. We just need time to implement our defense strategy. Within the hour, Earth's ships had deployed a network of quantum buoys around the planet. Small, nearly undetectable devices that created a web of interconnected sensor nodes. Simultaneously, engineering teams worked with Novan technicians to enhance their planetary defense grid, integrating Earth's more advanced targeting algorithms. In orbit, Admiral Wei gathered his captains for a final briefing before the Fricari arrival. "Make no mistake," he told them, his weathered face solemn on the shared communication channel. "Today we fight not just for the Novans, but for the principle that will define humanity's role in galactic affairs. We stand against genocide, against the strong preying on the weak. Implement Chimera protocols. Godspeed." As the final preparations were completed, Commander Reyes entered the ancient Novan library, one of the few structures the Fricari hadn't managed to destroy, its crystalline architecture housing millions of years of history and knowledge. Governor Mila waited inside with her High Council. "Commander, before whatever happens next, we wish to share something with you." She led Reyes to a central chamber where a crystalline matrix pulsed with soft light. "This is our ancestral record, the complete history of our species and all we've learned about the galaxy, including," she paused significantly, "what we know of the Fricari." The data transfer to Reyes's neural implant was instantaneous and overwhelming. Centuries of intelligence about Fricari tactics, physiology, and psychological profiles. Most crucially, it included the locations of their core worlds and military staging areas. "This is extremely valuable," Reyes said, processing the flood of information. "Why give this to me now?" Mila's expression grew solemn. "Because if your defense fails, this knowledge should not die with us. And if you succeed, it may help ensure the Fricari never threaten another peaceful species." Before Reyes could respond, her neural implant flashed urgent red. "They're here," she said. Above Nova Prime, space itself seemed to tear open as the Fricari fleet emerged from hyperspace. 74 warships arranged in an attack formation that filled the sky. At their center, a dreadnought 3 times the size of anything in Earth's arsenal loomed ominously. Admiral Wei's voice echoed across all Earth frequencies. "Chimera protocol active. Dispersed formation. Autonomous engagement authorization." Earth's 12 ships scattered in seemingly random patterns, each activating their full suite of electronic warfare systems. To Fricari sensors, it suddenly appeared as if dozens of vessels were moving in chaotic, unpredictable ways. The massive alien fleet opened fire, plasma cannons, and antimatter missiles streaking toward the defenders. But Earth's vessels danced through the barrage, their quantum-enhanced navigation systems predicting impact trajectories seconds before weapons fired. The UES Excalibur, Wei's flagship, took a direct hit that would have vaporized a conventional vessel. Instead, its metamaterial hull absorbed and redistributed the energy, glowing white-hot but remaining intact. "Second phase," Wei ordered calmly. Earth's ships fired their primary weapons not at the Fricari vessels, but at seemingly empty space between them. The quantum resonance cannons created localized distortions in spacetime, temporary gravity wells that dragged nearby Fricari ships toward each other, disrupting their formations and causing several collisions. On the Fricari command ship, Supreme Commander Vrex watched in growing rage as his fleet's perfect formation dissolved into chaos. "What trickery is this?" he snarled at his tactical officer. "Unknown, Supreme Commander," the officer responded, mandibles clicking nervously. "Their technology operates on principles our sensors cannot fully analyze. They appear to be manipulating gravitational fields with precision we've never encountered." Vrex slammed a clawed hand onto his command console. "It doesn't matter. We outnumber them 6-1. Concentrate all fire on their flagship. Let's see how their admiral functions without a head. 20 Valkyrie cruisers broke formation, converging on the Excalibur with weapons charge. Admiral Wei watched them approach, his expression calm. Phase 3, he ordered. Across Nova Prime's orbit, the quantum buoys Earth had deployed hours earlier activated simultaneously. For a brief moment, a web of energy connected them, forming a geodesic pattern around the planet. Then, with a pulse that rippled through subspace, they executed their primary function. Throughout the Valkyrie fleet, ship after ship suddenly lost power. Weapons systems, engines, and shields shutting down as the quantum pulse temporarily disrupted the unique crystalline technology at the heart of their vessels. Now, Wei commanded, all ships, priority targets only. Earth's vessels struck with surgical precision, their quantum resonance cannons carving through the disabled Valkyrie ships with mathematical precision. They didn't aim to destroy, only to permanently disable engines, weapons systems, and communications arrays. On the planet below, Commander Reyes watched the battle through her neural feed, coordinating with surface defenses to protect civilian shelters from any Valkyrie ships that might break through. The quantum buoy's effect would last only minutes. They needed to neutralize as many threats as possible in that window. In the Valkyrie flagship, Supreme Commander Vrex watched in horror as ship after ship went dark, drifting helplessly as the human vessels systematically disabled them. Unlike his other vessels, the flagship's redundant systems had protected it from complete shutdown. Impossible, he whispered, mandibles quivering. No species possesses such technology. His tactical officer's voice was strained. Supreme Commander, we're receiving reports that our disabled vessels are being boarded. What? Earth's attack had another component. While the main vessels engaged the Valkyrie fleet, smaller craft had deployed marine teams equipped with powered combat armor. These teams were systematically boarding the disabled Valkyrie ships, securing their bridges, and taking command crews prisoner. On the Valkyrie flagship's main screen, Admiral Wei's image appeared, somehow having bypassed their communication security. Supreme Commander Vrex, Wei addressed him directly. Your fleet has been neutralized. 70% of your vessels are under our control, with their command staffs in custody. The remainder have been permanently disabled. Vrex's scales darkened with rage. This is not possible. Who are you? We are humanity, Wei replied calmly. Until 3 days ago, we were content to remain in our corner of the galaxy, developing our civilization and technology in peace. Your attack on the Novans changed that. The Dominion has conquered hundreds of worlds. Vrex snarled. We will not be stopped by a single species, no matter what technological advantages you momentarily possess. Wei's expression didn't change. Perhaps you misunderstand the situation. We're not looking to conquer. We're simply informing you that the rules have changed. He gestured, and the screen split to show Commander Reyes standing in the Novan library. While you've been fighting our fleet, Reyes explained, we've received the complete Novan database on the Valkyrie Dominion, including the coordinates of all 17 of your core worlds, your shipyard locations, and your defensive capabilities. Vrex's yellow eyes widened. You're bluffing. 6 hours ago, Wei continued, a second Earth fleet departed for Valkyrie Prime with a simple mission, to present our terms to your Imperial Council. If those terms are rejected, or if any further aggression is shown toward the Novans or any other peaceful species, the consequences will be significant. On cue, Reyes transmitted a small portion of the Novan intelligence directly to Vrex's personal console, enough to prove they weren't bluffing. What do you want? Vrex asked, his voice now subdued. Peace, Wei answered simply. The Valkyrie Dominion will immediately cease all conquest operations and withdraw to your pre-expansion boundaries. You will pay reparations to the civilizations you've damaged, and you will submit to monitoring by a galactic council that will include representatives from all sentient species in this sector. And if we refuse? Wei's expression hardened slightly. Then we will have no choice but to ensure the Vrakari Dominion is no longer capable of threatening galactic peace. The transmission ended, leaving Vrex staring at a blank screen. Around his flagship, the Vrakari fleet hung in space, disabled, captured, or destroyed. 3 days after learning of humanity's existence, the mighty Dominion had been brought to its knees. In the Novan capital, Commander Reyes watched as hope returned to the faces of the survivors. Children emerged from shelters, looking up at the sky where Earth vessels now maintained a protective watch. Governor Mila approached, extending both four-fingered hands in a gesture of profound gratitude. How do we repay such a debt? Reyes clasped the governor's hands. By rebuilding, by thriving, and perhaps someday, by standing beside us when another species needs protection. That evening, as Nova Prime's binary suns set in a spectacular display of color, Admiral Wade joined Reyes on the surface for a ceremony hastily organized by the Novan leadership. Thousands gathered in the central plaza, now cleared of debris, to honor the humans who had saved their civilization. Today marks a new chapter, Governor Mila announced to her people and the human representatives. For millennia, the strong have preyed upon the weak among the stars. The Vrakari were merely the latest in a long line of conquerors. But today, a new force has revealed itself, not bent on conquest, but on protection. She turned to Wei and Reyes. In our ancient tongue, there is a word, Telere, which has no exact translation in your language. It means those who stand between harm and the innocent. From this day forward, that is how humanity will be known among the stars. Admiral Wei stepped forward. We accept this honor and the responsibility it carries. Earth has watched the stars in silence for generations, building our strength not for conquest, but for this very purpose, to ensure that peaceful civilizations may develop without fear of extinction. He surveyed the gathered Novans. Today, the galaxy has changed. Word will spread of what happened here, of how the Vrakari Dominion was defeated not by superior numbers, but by superior purpose. Earth does not stand alone in its commitment to peace. We invite all peaceful species to join us in building a galactic community based on cooperation and mutual respect. As night fell fully, the stars became visible above, countless points of light representing worlds that would soon learn of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. The species that had developed in silent preparation, waiting for the moment when their strength would be needed. Commander Reyes stood at the edge of the plaza, watching as Novan children played alongside the children of Earth's personnel, the first of countless cultural exchanges to come. Was it worth it? Admiral Wei asked, joining her. Revealing ourselves to the galaxy this way. Reyes nodded slowly. For generations, we prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. Today, we found a middle path, using our strength not to conquer, but to protect. Above them, Earth's fleet maintained its vigilant watch, their advanced sensors scanning far beyond the Novan system for any sign of threat. The message they had sent today would echo across the stars. Humanity had arrived, and the era of unchallenged conquest was over. What happens next? Reyes asked. Wei smiled slightly. Now we build. Alliances, understanding, cooperation. The Novans are just the beginning. There are thousands of civilizations out there, some advanced, some primitive, all deserving the chance to develop without fear. As if in answer to his words, Reyes's neural implant pulsed with an incoming transmission, another distress call, from another system under attack. It seems our work has just begun, she said. We nodded, his expression resolute. Then let's continue what we started here. The protectors of the stars have work to do.